Good morning, fifth grade. This is Miss Harvey, and today is Monday, May 18th. We're going to be doing math review together. To be prepared for this video, you'll need to have scratch paper and a writing utensil, and you'll need to have your math review work open in a separate tab. I'll show you how to find it. If you're in the fifth grade distance learning folder, you'll click on week 10. We're doing math review, so you'll click on math review. And then today is Monday, so you'll click on Monday's assignment. Grab your materials and come back to the video when you're all set. So to get started for today, you will be going through and solving all of the problems independently. Make sure you're doing so on a scratch piece of paper and showing all of your work. Then come back to the video when you're ready to check your answers. For the first couple of problems, you'll check your work against mine. And if you find that you're making errors or you don't understand how to solve these problems, you should go ahead and check it with your teacher. So for number 1, I've shown you the friendly numbers that I decided to round to for each item. The question is asking for the easiest estimate. So of course, I'm going to use friendly numbers that I can add easily in my head without having to do any work. And that's why D ends up being the best answer. For number 2, go ahead and check your work against mine, pause the video, and then continue when you're done checking your work. For number 3, it says Ms. Washburn is measuring 3 erasers. One eraser is 2 1/10 centimeter long, another is 75,000 centimeter long, the third eraser is 6,700 centimeter long. What is the total length of the erasers? So here, because it says total length, we know that we need to add all of the lengths together to figure that out. We need to make sure we are lining up our numbers by place value. As you can see, all of my decimal points line up. All of the digits in the tenths place, hundredths place, and thousandths place line up. If there were any empty place values, I filled them in with the zeros as placeholders so that they wouldn't confuse me. And then I went ahead and did the addition. Your final answer should be 2 845 thousandths centimeter. For the next problem, it says Naira went to the store. She bought pancake mix for blank, 1 bottle of water for blank, 3 oranges for blank, and a piece of candy for blank. How much did Naira spend at the store? We're trying to figure out the total amount that she spent. We know that we need to add all of these amounts together. Again, when you're adding decimals, you should make sure that your numbers are lined up by place value. All of the digits in the ones place are lined up. All of my decimal points, all of the digits in the tenths place are lined up, and all of the digits in the hundredths place are lined up. Then I followed through by doing my addition. My final answer should be $9.90. For the last problem, we needed to look at the number line to answer several questions. The first thing that I did was I went ahead and labeled the hash marks that were not labeled. So I saw the whole numbers 2, 3, and 4. In between the whole numbers 2 and 3, I saw that there were 4 gaps or 4 parts that whole was broken into. Because if I drew a bar model from 2 to 3 and represented one whole, it was broken into 4 pieces. That means we're counting by fourths. So I went ahead and labeled the hash marks with the fractional value, knowing that it would be 2 1/4, 2 2/4, 2 3/4. Then I did the same on the other side of the number line, 3 1/4, 3 2/4, 3 3/4. Now that we have labeled our number line, we can answer the questions. Where would you place 2 60 hundredths on this line? Well, I know that 60 hundredths is a decimal, but I've written my numbers as a fraction. So I need to think of what the fractional values of these decimals are. I know that 2/4 is equal to 1/2, which would be 50 hundredths. And I know that 3/4 is equal to 75 hundredths. So now I can compare my numbers because I have decimal amounts to compare them with. 2 and 60 hundredths is greater than 2 and 2/4, but 2 and 60 hundredths is less than 2 and 3/4. So it should be somewhere in between these two hash marks. And the point B lands between those, so the best answer here would be A for point B. Which point would you place the fraction 3 and 2/3 on for this number line? Again, here I need to think of the values of my fractions to be able to compare. I know that 2/3 is more than 1/4, but I also know that 2/3 is less than 3/4. On our number line, we have a point that comes before 3 and 1/4. 3 and 1/4 would be less than 3 and 2/3, so point C could not be an answer choice. We have another point that comes after 3 and 3/4, but 3 and 3/4 is bigger than 3 and 2/3. So answer choice for point E would not be possible. The best answer here would be point D. The secret code for today's math review quiz is laundry. 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 Go ahead and get started on your exit ticket quiz. Make sure to check in with your teacher if you feel like you need a conference on any of these problems.